What is up, everybody? I am back here today for another video, and today we are going to be talking about who I believe is the MVP for every single conference in college football next season. There's so many good players. Everybody knows the star quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, defensive guys. So many players from so many different teams. I can't wait to talk about who I think are going to be the conference MVPs this season. I'm going to start here in the American Conference, and I'm going to go with Owen McCown from UTSA. The Roadrunners. Owen McCown has been so good throughout his time with UTSA. He's been such a great player. He's so good at just passing the ball in the air. Not really a dual threat at all, but I mean, he knows how to get the ball, how to sling it. And yeah, Owen McCown, like I said, he's been proven over time, really good player. And I think UTSA, in terms of talent, is not like at the top of the conference, but I think with what Owen McCown brings to the table, I think they're definitely going to be up there. So I think that's important to note. I'm doing another video later that's going to be dark horses for it, which probably should come out a couple days after this one. And that one I think is going to be more players that are lower in the conference, like standings and projections, like at least from what I think. Whereas these guys are typically going to be on some of the top teams. And I think that Owen McCown, because he'll be on a contender and because he's going to be not the sole reason, but one of the main reasons for that, I definitely think Owen McCown is going to be the American Player of the Year. Now, last year, Delaware made the jump from the FCS to the FBS level, and many didn't think they were going to be able to compete. But Delaware actually did a pretty solid job last season in the CUSA, and a lot of that was due to their quarterback, Nick Minicucci. And yeah, he was amazing. He had some pretty good weapons. Now, the crazy thing is, Delaware this season have a lot of those talents back, especially their wide receivers. I believe they're returning their two top receivers. And yeah, Minicucci's coming back as well. He's really good in the air, and he can do it on the ground a little bit as well. Just a really, really good player. A guy, like I said, who's proven to an extent after playing with them last year and doing a really good job. I think he comes back. I don't think Delaware's going to win the conference, but I think they'll be definitely up there. And I think Minicucci's going to have play a really big part. He has so many good weapons returning, and I think that's an underrated aspect of why I think he'll do well. But I think he's going to be the Conference USA Player of the Year. Now, for the MAC Conference Player of the Year, I'm going to go with Jalen Buckley from Western Michigan. This guy has been really, really good. 2 years ago, he had exactly 1,003 yards, which is funny. This past season, he also had 1,003 yards. The year before, he had like 600. But anyway, Buckley has just been amazing. 2,000-yard seasons is can't be overstated at all. I mean, that is really, really impressive, especially for a running back, not a receiver. So yeah, I mean, Buckley, really, really good player. I think that Western Michigan, I know they won the conference last year. I don't think they're going to do it again, but I think they're definitely going to be in the running. I have Miami, Ohio to win it. But I do think Western Michigan's going to be up there, and a lot of that's going to be because of Jalen Buckley. And with how much consistency he's shown over the years, I think he's going to do it again. I think he's going to have an even better season, potentially like a 1,200 yard year. And yeah, I think he's going to be the conference player of the year. Next up is going to be the Sun Belt Conference, and this one is probably going to be a little bit surprising. I think he's probably the worst player of all of the Conference Player of the Years, but I'm going to go with Devin Roach from Old Dominion. Now, I'm picking Old Dominion to win the conference. That's kind of my bold prediction, at least. One of them in the group of six. And yeah, I think that Devin Roach is going to be a massive part of that. He had about 200 yards his freshman year, about 300 his sophomore year. Then he just came off 630 yards and four touchdowns as a running back. Pretty impressive. Coming back another year. Old Dominion, they relied a lot on Colton Joseph, their quarterback, and throwing the ball last year, but I think they're going to focus a little bit more on the run game this year. Now that Roque is back, I think he's going to be a really good player. I think Old Dominion is going to win the conference, and I think he's just kind of going to be the face of that team and who the offense relies around. So, yeah, I'm going to pick the Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year to be Devin Roque. Next up is going to be the Pac-12, one of the most intriguing conferences. It's new look. It's been, I think, 2 years now since the old Pac-12 ended up, not existing anymore. So pretty cool to see it back. And for the MVP of, I guess, the inaugural season of the new Pac-12, it's going to be Lucky Sutton from San Diego State. This guy was so, so good last year. San Diego State took a massive jump that no one was really expecting and ended up being, one of the top teams in the entire group of five. And a lot of that was due to Lucky Sun. He comes back another year. I want to say he had like 1,200 yards last year. I don't think San Diego State's going to win the conference this year, but I think they'll be pretty close. It's probably going to be Boise State, but I think San Diego State's right there. A lot of that is going to be on Lucky Sutton and what he's able to do. Next up is going to be the Mountain West Player of the Year. And for this one, I'm going to pick Jayden Thomas. I think this one's pretty obvious now. He's been at UNLV for like 3 years now. Been really good. I believe he had 900 yards last season, brought it up to 1,000 this past season. And yeah, he was so good. He's really good at getting in the end zone as well. A lot of touchdowns too. And yeah, Jayden Thomas, I mean, he's had his games where he completely broke out. A really good player, and I do think UNLV is going to win the conference, so it's going to be great. Last year they had Anthony Colandrea at quarterback, so they did rely on their pass game a little bit, but obviously it was a little bit, catered towards Thomas. This year they're going to bring in Jackson Arnold at quarterback, but still I think it's probably going to rely a little bit more on Jayden Thomas and what he's able to do on the ground. And because UNLV, I think, is going to win the conference, I think that the Mountain West Player of the Year is going to go to Jayden Thomas. We are finally on to the power conferences, and I'll start here in the Big 12. I'm actually wearing the jersey right now. I think that Drew Mestemaker is going to be the Big 12 Player of the Year. Now, I understand that, I picked Texas Tech to win the conference. I picked BYU to be second. Oklahoma State, I didn't pick to be at the very top, but, pretty much nobody did. I'm really high on Oklahoma State personally. I know they haven't won anything in the last couple of years, but I really trust who they brought in. I think Drew Messemaker is such a good player. I loved everything that North Texas was doing last year. And the fact they were to bring in so many of their guys is going to be great. I think Messemaker is going to be really comfortable with being in Stillwater with some of the pieces he has, the head coach that he had prior. And yeah, I mean, regardless, he has so much talent. I think he's going to do super well. I think Oklahoma State is going to shock a lot of people this year. Now, there's a couple ways I could go for the Big Ten here. I think there's a lot of really good players, especially quarterbacks, but players just in general. I had Indiana to win the conference. I thought about Josh Hoover. I know he's great, but I'm gonna go with Jeremiah Smith. I know he didn't have the sophomore season that he kind of hoped for after that amazing freshman season, but I think he's gonna bounce it back. It happens a lot. It's like sophomore slump, and I think that's gonna happen. And yeah, I mean, he's a really good player. Julian Sayin, is I thought about as well, but I think that Jeremiah Smith, I think that enough of what Julian Sayin does is going to go to Jeremiah Smith. So I think that Smith is just going to get honored for it. So yeah, I mean, unbelievable player. You could argue the most talented player in the country. And now he just got to prove it on the biggest stage. I think he's going to win Big Ten Player of the Year. Next up is going to be the SEC, and for this one, I'm going to pick Trinidad Chambliss. I know there's a lot of great options, but I do think Chambliss is probably the most proven guy and the guy that I think is going to do the best. Now, he has an amazing story. He played at, I believe, Ferris State at the D2 level, then ended up going to Ole Miss. Wasn't projected to do much, but ended up coming in for, I think it was Austin Simmons was their quarterback last year. He ended up coming in for him, and he was unbelievable. One of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. Completely, I think, transformed the Ole Miss program. Even when in the playoffs, they lost their head coach Lane Kiffin. And yeah, Chambliss is going to be really good. I think he works well under Pete Golding. And yeah, I mean, he's such a good player. Unfortunately, I don't think Ole Miss is going to win the SEC. I think they're probably going to finish like fourth or fifth, potentially third, maybe. We'll see. But I love Chambliss. I do think Kawan Lacey is going to get a lot of touches offensively, but that was the same last year, and Chambliss was just fine. So yeah, I think Chambliss is probably the best player in the conference, and I think he's going to get the award. And now finally for the ACC, I know I mentioned sophomore slumps and I thought about it, but I'm going to go with Malachi Tony from Miami. He was so, so good last year, completely under the radar player, but he ended up being key for Miami in that national championship run that they ended up taking. He comes back another year. New system because they're going to have Darian Mensah at quarterback instead of Carson Beck, but I think they'll do just fine. I think Mensah is a little bit better than Beck anyway. And yeah, I know, I can see Tony having a down year, but personally, I'm not going to pick it just because I saw so much last year, and it'd be kind of shocking. I think if he doesn't at least do really good next year, I think he's going to be such a star player. And yeah, I mean, if we're talking about the ACC, I don't think there's so much, too much talent, and I think Miami's going to win the conference anyway. A lot of that's going to be on Tony, so I'm going to pick him to be the conference player of the year. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to stay tuned on the channel for more, make sure to check out my page. I'm also going to be doing dark horses in the near future, so make sure to stay tuned for that as well.